40% of kids saying they hate school. We have to find a way in education to bring those kids to school. We got to figure out a way to make them enjoy it, at least just for a little bit.
What we're trying to do is teach kids how to learn.
Some kids have never had success in school. You put them in front of a video game, they find success. Now I have a voice. Now people are listening to me.
I think people think we're teaching video games.
Right.
And that is absolutely not what we're doing.
You can bring this into a building with your teachers, and it's innovative to where the students are going to be a part of something that is just bigger than them.
Through gaming concepts, I really feel like I have even a stronger connection with students than I've had in the past 10 years of teaching.
So we ready? You guys ready?
Yeah, you kick us off, man.
Let's do this.
It's your guess. There we go.
We're kicking. Hey, good morning to my two favorite esports friends in the entire Kansas City area and world. Dr. Michael Russell, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited about everything going on. How are you doing, Trevor?
I'm well. I'm a little cold. I'm a little cold, Mike.
I saw you sitting there with your blankie. So.
It's a Generation Esports blankie. Does that count?
Yes, I think
it's got
that's
like
fine.
It's got like our logo on it, so I think that's acceptable. But it's cold. It's cold in Kansas.
It's gonna be colder. We're gonna get some snow and stuff. So
well, there's snow this morning. I was up at 5:30, and there's a little bit of snow coming down. So we'll be good. We'll be good. Next best person, maybe sometimes cooler. I don't know. Dr. Kristen Kraft. Dr. Kraft, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I am great. I am just. My dog is laying on the Generation Esports blanket, actually. So I thought
you may have one of the cutest dogs. We just need to make that the official podcast dog.
The official podcast dog, Winston. Can we put him on our little picture on gaming concepts? And I
bet Alex can do that. He can be our version of Bob. Like, the game plan Bob. He can be our mascot.
See, he's dying to get on.
Winston. I know Winston loves. He loves screen time. He loves being on here.
He loves screen time. It's actually jealousy. It's jealousy when I'm not paying attention. I mean, look at this. He's like
you're looking at somebody else.
He's getting a little bigger. Like he's getting larger than I remember.
Well, he's the same. He's still quite large. He's my pet anvil.
Okay.
Yes, he's a brick. Oh, look at him nuzzle up against you.
Oh.
I know. I mean, it's ridiculous. You guys, it's ridiculous. He's like a small human. He just doesn't even know. He doesn't even know.
Oh, lucky boy. See, our dog, Annie, she wants to be close to you, but she doesn't want you to touch her. You start petting her, and then she, moves away. You're like, that's not why we got you, dog. We got you to, bring in for comfort.
Did she do that? Did she do that to everybody or just you?
What? I feel like that was personal, Mike. No, it's everybody. It's everybody.
Okay. All
right. Ha ha ha. Oh man. Well, I'm excited, guys. Let's kind of dive in because we got some guests today. One of which is a first-year esports teacher using gaming concepts.
Ooh.
So we'll hear some practical wisdom for one of our guests. And so if you didn't pick up, audience, now we're transitioning to the guest portion of the show. So clue number one, we actually have two guests today, guys. Clue number one, this person currently teaches gaming concepts in a high school.
Uh-huh.
Okay. We have a district teacher of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have this might be the most important one, 3-time fantasy football league champion.
Wow, that's impressive.
I heard a guy tell me today that his highest achievement in life was winning his fantasy football league. It's that
wow.
Important.
Wow.
Hashtag goals.
Hashtag goals.
That's
important things. Important things.
Let's see. I don't know. Oh, is there more clues? Sorry.
There's more. Oh, there's more. There's more. This person played softball at Ball State University.
Ooh, chirp chirp.
Only listens to country music.
Okay.
But I would like to dive into that because there's some modern country music that I don't really consider country music anymore.
Oh,
Are you talking like Opry country or are you talking like today country? I mean,
we might have to ask about that because there's a difference there. There's like Garth Brooks country. Willie Whaling country, but then there's like this modern stuff. It's kind of like hip hop rock country. Anyway,
I think. Well, can I guess one?
yes.
I will not probably guess the Basehor-Linwood one, but I want to say Kyle Schoenifer for one.
No,
Nope.
no. I think we've guessed Kyle like 5 times. We
No, I
actually really need
haven't.
to get-
No, I have never
Oh,
guessed
okay.
Kyle before. No, I do
I,
guess.
I have a guess.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay.
What do you got, Dr. Kraft?
I think one of them is Cadie Abdo.
Got it.
Oh, wow.
Got it.
Nice.
Hey,
How did you know that one, Kristen?
because it's Basehor-Linwood, and I know
Ah.
she's the one that took over for Alex Hervey.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, our 2 guests today, Miss Cadie and Miss Jayme, both of which from Basehor-Linwood. Am I correct in that, ladies?
Yes.
Oh,
Good morning.
Yes.
I love it. Welcome.
Wonderful.
It was tricky. You didn't say they were both from Basehor, so I didn't know.
Well, I can't give everything away, Mike. Can't give it all away. Well, good morning, ladies. Welcome to the Gaming Concepts podcast. So good to have you guys on. Thank you for giving of your morning. I know you guys are both very busy folks, and so we appreciate you taking time. Take a second and introduce us to yourself. We'll start with Cadie. Cadie, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll go to Miss Jayme.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so yeah, my name's Cadie Abdo. I did take over for Alex Hervey in my first year of teaching esports. It's my second year of teaching overall. So yeah, I'm really excited. I've learned a lot, within teaching esports this past semester, and it's been a ton of fun. I totally have a different viewpoint of, the importance of esports and how it can be seen in the educational system. But on top of that, I coach volleyball, powerlifting, and softball at the school, and I really enjoy Basehor-Linwood so far. Yeah.
Awesome. Busy. Next up, guest, Miss Jayme Breault. Breault, did I get it right? Bro. Okay.
It's like, what's up, bro? Yeah.
What's up, bro? Well, what's up, Jayme Breault? Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm Jayme Breault. My title is Innovation Specialist here at Basehor-Linwood High School. This is my second year maybe in this role, 17th year teaching, done a little bit of everything. So, but I'm kind of oversee our Innovation Academy and our innovative programs. And we get to have the great opportunity in this district to take real world learning opportunities and match them with our content areas. Esports fits into that really nicely. And Cadie is one of our great teachers within the programs too. So we get to give kids some good experiences and they get actual school credit for it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you guys today. This is really exciting. Can I start with some questions? Okay. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna start with Cadie. And I love the fact that you are a second year teacher and you came on as a first year teacher. And so what were you hired to teach when you came on?
So I actually was at a different school district last year, and I was teaching all business courses. So I have my MBA. I worked in the corporate world for a little bit, and I was teaching business. But I knew a couple of years back, I really wanted to get in here at Basehor-Linwood because they have so many opportunities for kids to learn in a different style, and there's a lot more academic freedom, I think. So I think last year, the principals here at Basehor-Linwood reached out to me, and they were telling me about, hey, there's cool opportunities for you to teach some technology classes and some things like that. And I was really interested in it. So in my interview, they dropped esports to me, and I was like, bring it on. I'm learning a lot for sure. I'm definitely a novice when it comes to gaming, but trading it and combining it with, the curriculum and stuff has been, like I said earlier, really eye-opening to me and a really cool opportunity. I totally
a lot of business teachers are just like you, and they maybe not. I mean, I'm guessing you're not really a gamer. Like I'm not. I gamed back in the day, but
right.
But I think this is so great to talk to you because, as you took this on and you've had a semester under your belt now, what has really stood out to you as being, what's so great about esports and how has it changed your thinking and why is it good for kids? I think you probably have a lot to share there.
Oh yeah, I definitely do. Cause like I said, at first, I was like esports, heck y'all, hang out while the kids game. But then it's like, okay, like I totally got a different perspective as far as, talking about communication, I think is the biggest thing we work on. And, you see like those quiet kids who would never speak up in a regular ed class that, they try and hide in the back. Then they'll come into my class and they'll actually, you'll see their personality start to come out and they, feel included. And it's something that they, enjoy. And I think that's a big thing too, is like empowering students. Like here at Basehor, we give our kids a lot of opportunities to decide what they want to do and how they want to learn. And esports is a big one for a lot of those kids who, you don't know what their home life is like. This might be the only reason they come to school, or, they actually get to talk in a class and not be afraid that they're wrong. So I think it's cool to see, a lot of those quiet kids really start to come out of their shell. And then it's really fun to see how like leadership starts to come out of other kids, and then the buy-in they get from one another. And so we're just kind of actually set our teams for my new class this semester. And, we talked about SMART goals, and every day when they come into class, they're going to write down, 2 SMART goals for the day. So actually making sure that they're, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, things like that. So they're working on, other, like, I like to say like soft skills that a lot of people don't see when you hear esports. They're like, okay, they just go into games. I'm like, no, we communicate, we set goals, we go back and we track, how we did, we break down our gameplay. There's a lot more that goes into it than you think from the outside looking in, for sure.
And you teach the gaming concepts 1. Do you also teach the interactive media, the 2, or just the 1 course, the fundamentals?
I really just teach just the fundamentals. Okay. We do have like a computer graphics class that I teach. It's kind of broad as far as like animations and things like that, but I had one kid in that class last year. He really wants to get game development, so he was using Blender and different tools while the other students use their stuff. But I knew that's a passion of his, so we have those opportunities for kids too, and we try to create them for them. So,
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course, yeah.
Jayme, like, what is it that drew you to the esports piece as something that you're like, okay, we'll give this a shot. This fits within what you're wanting to accomplish within your mission and vision at Basehor?
I think we had a big advocate in Alex bringing it a couple years ago. And I think one of the reasons we want to keep it around is for a lot of the reasons that Cadie said. We really focus on building those soft skills, those essential skills in our students, and giving students an opportunity to enjoy being at school. One of our vision statements for our building is that there's 100% involvement for every student. And I think we understand that that's going to look different for different students. And I think what a lot of schools forget is that the extracurricular doesn't necessarily have to be outside the classroom. Like those co-curricular options are really important. And it's how you really hook a lot of students. So when you have someone like Cadie, who's just excited to be there and is learning alongside the students, and you let the students teach you some things, like that enjoyment grows even further. So you don't have to be a gaming expert, or, you just have to have the enthusiasm.
Yes.
Totally agree. So did it increase your 100% engagement and goal? Like, what has been your engagement in your building then for these kiddos?
Overall, I think we're sitting at like somewhere in the 80s. So we're getting a lot of our students. One of the things that it did for our students the first year that we brought the program was that it gave it some of our students in our alternative programs. So the students who need to learn in a different way, or just, might not have the availability to get to an after school or extracurricular activity, it gave them an option as far as an elective to go, because that was one of their elective options. And so they got to experience that, and then also feel some pride in being able to excel in a class and show off some of their talents and some of their interests that might be different than others.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it.
So I know, Cadie, you can't give like a ton of specific names, but do you already have some success stories you've seen this year? Students that have just like, and I hate the word blossomed, but blossomed and bloomed because of it. And just like Jayme said, just those kids that maybe weren't tuned in or now. Do you already have some stories from kids this year?
Yeah, just through one semester. I mean, I have two off the top of my head, and one I kind of spoke on a little bit. I think of one student specifically that he came into class, always had his hood up, mask on, looked down, kept to himself, and it's pretty quiet. And then eventually we kind of formed our teams, and we participate in the HSCL, the High School Esports League, and he was one of our Valorant players. And we finally got our headsets and our mics, and throughout time, that kid just started taking on that leadership role and like communicating and talking to his teammates. And then next thing you know, it leads to like them actually talking outside of class. And I took them on a field trip too. And, I could just kind of see their personality start to shine. Mm-hmm. But I think he actually joined the class a couple weeks later. And so when he came in, he was just that quiet kid that I was like, man, I really, want to get to know him. And he started, at first to get to know, but once he was able to like play with his teammates and, I think becoming that, like being in that environment where he started to feel comfortable and non-judgmental, and he was doing something he loved to do, he, really just his communication increased so much. It's not just, me or the game, but with his peers. And I think that really helped his confidence and self-esteem a lot. That's probably one of my favorites. And I think another one is actually, I have some connections with Auto University, and I know they got pretty solid esports program there. So a couple years back, I was a graduate assistant for their softball program, and that was the year they brought esports into the university. So I connected with their coach, Alex Madeira, and reached out to him, and we actually went on a field trip out to Ottawa and saw, got to connect with their athletes, their esports athletes there. They gave, they played against their kids at first, and then they came and gave pointers and helped them out and stuff. So if you haven't seen their arena, they took their old theater and turned it into a gaming coliseum. So, they have balconies with setups. They got the stage, the LED lights, fog machines and stuff. It's a really cool experience. So, yeah, I was able to bring my kids out there, and I had a few of them. And I don't really know how to say it, but like they had a few that I don't think that college was in the books for them. I don't think they ever saw themselves going to college. Mm-hmm. And after getting that experience and talking with a lot of their athletes, I had a couple of them like, where do I sign up? Like, I want to go here. I want to play. And like, I want to go to college now and stuff like that. And so I really saw that as a really cool opportunity for them to, see that there's more to it, and that they create opportunities and opens other doors that just like a lot of people don't get credit for, don't recognize. So
yeah, they did.
Those I think are my two success stories for sure.
Those are awesome.
That's
love
awesome.
those.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I'm always curious about, and either of you could answer this. I'm always curious about kind of how you think the book works. Or do you appreciate how the book is laid out, or how the technology, the game plan works? And I'm always interested in those details because we create this, we write this stuff. So I want to make sure that it's useful and you're getting the benefits of it. So, and then I'm also curious, like, how many do you teach at one time a day? Is it 4 times a day? How many classes do you actually have going for any of the gaming concepts classes that are out there?
Mm-hmm.
And either one of you. So
I think that's definitely a Cadie question.
Okay, sorry.
I know a little bit about the enrollment, so yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we actually just started up using the course yesterday, but I always kind of start with I think a few of the lessons as far as like what it takes to be a next level gamer. That's what I kind of have them starting off with. And then we'll pick and pull a little bit as far as like those intros, like to like the leadership, the communication, and those things. And then they just got their teams kind of sorted out yesterday. So once we kind of figure out who's playing which game, I'll start to pull some more like game specific tutorials or lessons from you guys. So I know a lot of my students' feedback from last year, especially like my Rocket League team, they learned a lot of different aerials and a lot of different tricks through watching the video. And that's part of like the SMART goals. I'm really locking it down on it this semester because I think I did let it slip a little bit being my first semester, but I really want them, to actually set goals and like utilize the things that they're learning from your lessons. And I think I got a lot of good feedback from my Rocket League kids. And then also like my League of Legends kids, there's just so many different attributes to the game and different characters and things like that. So they were able to better learn, you know, just the breakdown of the game. And that's another thing with the esports classes. I have kids who are like nationally ranked, and I have a lot of kids who've never played before, and they kind of fall in between. So the lessons definitely help those beginners for sure. And then the kids who are, you know, somewhere in the middle, they're able to up their game a lot too, just by learning about, you know, the stuff that you guys have to share. So
Awesome.
it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That, and I think that when you look long term, and gamification in education is huge, and those technical skills that you're giving students too, and this opportunities, that's not just playing a game, but you're looking at the industry as a whole, like what types of jobs are out there in that market, and how can these kids get into something like that. That's important too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things that you've seen with, you know, having this esports class? And I was actually going to go back to when you talked about, you know, the field trip to Ottawa. Have you guys taken a field trip to Generation Esports yet in Kansas City? They have a whole.
No.
Well,
I would love to.
I'll jump in because I did go. I think I went with Alex last year, so I think we took a group.
They have like a marketing day where they kind of teach you around the marketing of it all. So that would be something really cool to do. But so the project-based learning things that you guys have done. I mean, you mentioned that when you first got on the call, Jayme, you know, that you're innovative. You want to tie that real authentic learning. And I think I'm a huge, you know, supporter of project-based learning. And I think esports is perfect for that. What are some of the things that you saw with esports that really made connections to those real world jobs that maybe other administrators or, you know, people in education don't necessarily see that bridge?
It's an entire industry. It's a huge industry. And there's so many things that go into it, and there's something for everybody. Like you had mentioned, there's a marketing day. Marketing is a huge part of that industry. And I don't think that students really realize that, or at least high school students don't always realize that you can find your niche, and then look at the different jobs within that niche. So if gaming is where you feel comfortable, where you feel at home, then what are those jobs? You've got to have people who build the games, but you also have to have people who promote the games, people who are writing curriculum maybe for teaching the games. There's everything involved in this multi-billion-dollar industry that's out there.
Cybersecurity, people want to hack into the, you know, the competition.
Well, I think
streaming now, YouTube. My kids at home watch video game YouTubers are huge. I'm sure those people are making a ton of money, and because I hear them all night long.
I think so many of the skills you learn from gaming too are transferable. You know, they transfer into all these other industries, and I think people think about gaming who don't know or familiar with the industry, and they're like, oh, well, what are they going to do with that? You know, and you made a excellent point about all the things that they can do within the gaming industry, but also, you know, a lot of those things transfer over. I mean, human resources and lawyers and accountants, they're all, you know, a lot of them are gamers too, and they may not even be in the gaming industry, but they'll go on to do other things outside of that. So
that's true. I mean, we tell students who are taking choir, like, you have to have a hobby. You might not go into that long term, but you need to have something that you feel connected to and you take away from high school.
Yeah. And I think that's something I love to always say, you know, we want to normalize esports in schools just as much as choir is normalized. Or you said, you know, Cadie, you do a weight class. If that can be normalized in school, then so can esports.
Right.
You know,
but it's so foreign and it's so misunderstood, especially in the world of education. So what might you guys, and each of you could answer this, but what might you guys say to a hesitant teacher or a hesitant principal or a hesitant superintendent that doesn't want to have esports in their school or district? Yeah, that's actually a good question, because I had that conversation, I think at the end of last semester with our admin. They were kind of talking about how, like, the bandwidth of the computers and stuff, and they might want to get rid of the class. And I was like, hold on. Like, one, I love this class. It became one of my favorites. And I was like, I just see there's so much that goes into it. Like, I know I've kind of gotten a little bit repetitive on this, but like the students who don't look forward to going to school, like they look forward to coming to class, like coming to esports class, like you get that buy-in from kids. So that's actually really where I'm starting to hammer down this semester, is making sure my kids in there now are actually really creating those soft skills when it comes to setting your goals or strategizing, different situations and all the skill building stuff. But I talked to one of our administrators, and I was just like, at first I was skeptical myself. I was like, esports in school, they just do video game. And that's what people always tell me too. And I was like, you do get to play video games a lot. I was like, but there's so much more to it. You'll see the kids just grow immensely while they're in there, and they, feed their self-esteem because they're confident in that content. Just kind of jumping back to, choir in the classroom, like students who are in choir, they're passionate about singing. So students who are in esports, they're passionate about gaming. And I don't necessarily see a difference in that because they both give you different skill sets. So I think that's kind of been my kind of pushback is, if you could actually see how much these students have grown from August to, I guess, end of the semester in December, they're completely different kids. And I never had a single kid complain about coming to class. The kids who are always cutting class or leaving and for 30 minutes at a time, that doesn't happen in there. And that's just something that, like, it's because they're empowered in there, they enjoy being in there, and they're passionate about it. And I think to take that away from kids would probably hurt the school a little bit, as far as giving them an opportunity and taking it away from them. And I could see some pushback from them as well, kind of like Jayme was saying. So yeah.
Well, Cadie, because the reason they were cutting your classes before is because they were going to the bathroom to play Clash of Clans on their phones.
Right.
And now they're just able to actually play and talk about games in class. So there's no reason to cut anymore. They're good.
And I would bet they're probably not on their phones very much in your class either.
Nope.
Would be my
No,
guess.
not at all. Yeah. Not
Sorry,
at all.
Cadie.
And actually,
Go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say I was also doing like a little bit of research, because that's one thing too, is you get I've had some great kids, and they're like, well, my parents just won't let me take it as a class. And so I'll try and give them some pointers too. But I was doing like a little bit of research on actually kind of answering that question, like, what do you tell people, when they're giving you pushback? And I came across an article that, is just talking about some key benefits of having esports in the classroom. It creates positive impacts on their self-esteem. It increases their focus in class and increased participation, engagement, attendance, and even improved academic performance. So, when they truly feel like they're a part of the program, they're going to do a lot more. And that just kind of, limits any behavioral issues. I haven't had a behavioral issue in the esports classroom other than telling them to watch the language, but that's about it for me. So
do you have a cussing limit in the class? Tell me, really. Like this was one of the rules that we had. They had a cussing limit. That was one of the rules we set up.
Yeah.
There was they could only say 3 a day, and after that they had to take a timeout, right? So, well, I was in an alternative school, so we had to be a little more liberal with how many we gave away, but the 3 was
right. No, that's right. No, I definitely talked about a swear jar. So I'm like, hey, maybe I'll get a swear jar and I can just, maybe pocket that money and make a teacher's salary work out,
Yeah.
But that's what we kind of joke around there. But no, they do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
They'll come up with some funny ways to not swear, and it's actually more entertaining for me too to hear it. So
we had a lot of flipping and flip that and Foja and all that stuff, but they didn't never say the actual word. They found ways to navigate without using the word. So
right.
Love it.
I think that's another example too, is when you're giving students the opportunity, like when you're treating them like adults, they start making better decisions. And I think that's like something that esports can also give too, because when you have a program like this, it means you're listening to them. You're like meeting them where they're at, and you're meeting them, where they're potentially where their future might be. And so they'll take it a little more seriously. They're not going to try to mess that up.
When you're there for the immediate feedback, right? I mean, like when that happens, Cadie's right there and she can say, this is how we should handle that. Whereas at home, or if they're gaming elsewhere, Nobody's
Right.
watching that. Nobody's there to correct that behavior. So that's
Mhm.
a big piece of what this really does is we're training good online citizens is what we're doing. I mean, we want them to be,
Right.
and the reason they're not good now is because nobody's ever showed them how to do that.
It's just like
Right.
we talk about with having COVID, and when the kids came back and the behaviors, we saw behaviors go up so much. And so the term I kept hearing was students are so dysregulated from school right now. And I think that's I think esports is dysregulated because we haven't brought it into the school. So when you bring in those kids from a place where they were just playing, on their own, with people all over the world, obviously, but no one was there to guide the decisions and the choices and the actions. And so when you put that structure to it within a school, just think of how much growth, like you said, they're different kids by the end of the semester.
Absolutely. I even know that's some lessons we use at Generation Esports is talking about, like I think there's a segment on like raging and stuff like that. They get a kick out of it, but then we'll go back and kind of discuss like, okay, what are some better ways you can handle it? And, kind of jumping back to my connection with esports at Auto University. I talked to their coach, Alex, when our kids were gaming. I was like, being an esports coach, like what are like some of the big things you work on with your athletes? And, because I was, I'm new to it too. So I was trying to get some pointers. And he said, the main thing they really talk about, like if they're going to sit down and all talk together, that's just like, having like just basic communication skills. Because, if you go back to COVID when kids are just gaming nonstop, then they don't know how to go talk to a stranger on the street or, things like that, or in the classroom for those like real intense gamers. So those are some things you talked about, is just like how to communicate with anybody who's not a part of the gaming world, or how to handle your anger when you're upset, so you're not like smashing your keyboard or throwing things or breaking, your monitors and things like that. Those are all the conversations they talk about, is just kind of all the real world stuff when you actually, do disconnect from your game, how to handle yourself properly. And also not only that, but like representing your program and where you come from. So I always, talk to my kids too, and they do compete after school and stuff when they're competing against other schools. I always tell them like, you represent our program, like you will not, like you can drop a third here and there in class, but when you're competing, you're not, cussing or, trash talking or anything like that. Like stay level headed and those types of things. But I know the collegiate level, that's a lot of their main focus too, from the feedback I've heard anyway.
So Jayme, we talked a lot about esports and stuff. How does the Innovation Academy work? I know you've mentioned that quite a bit, but like, what is that? What is the Innovation Academy?
Yeah, it is a program. We have 3 different levels, but our main focus is to connect client connected projects or entrepreneurial experiences to our classroom content. So students could potentially take, actually most of our students take 2 classes. They get their English credit and then a CTE course, so a career and tech ed course at the same time. And they've got 1 project. So with project-based learning, I think, Kristen, you had mentioned you love PBL, but a lot of times if you've got it going on in several different classes, you can get project overload. And so Innovation Academy really aims to have 1 centralized project, make it as authentic as possible by asking our community and business partners, what needs can we fill? And then we as teachers and facilitators help create a solution, but also connect our content to it. So they're not taking a traditional English course, or they're not taking a typical sociology course. They're trying to find those angles within their projects to connect those content standards too. Yeah. I think it all goes back to like what I've just been hearing from you guys in your conversation is you're building resilience with students with esports. You're trying to help them get outside their comfort zone and figure out what the next best move is and how to bounce back from any setbacks you have. And we try to do that in the classroom in a safe space, because most of us don't experience failure until we're later on in life and we've got a mortgage or bills or kids or something else we have to worry about. And so to give that experience to students early, because the way that it looks like the way industry changes now is so much quicker. They're going to have to be resilient to move forward and in their professions and in their lives. So
it makes me feel good to hear you say that, because one of the number one trait requested by employers now is perseverance, resilience. And like you mentioned, it's hard to learn that until you get older and then you finally fail at something, and schools aren't really set up for failures. So, I mean, you fail something and that's it. That's it. You failed and you get to retake algebra again because you failed it the first time, right?
You fail and you fail and you fail. Yeah.
Yeah.
But gaming allows people to fail all the time, and then they'll keep trying and eventually they'll get through the game, right? So it's always fun to introduce a new game. If you want to do something really fun, Cadie, just throw in a new game the kids don't even know how to play and they'll all freak out. And then but then 2 weeks later, they'll all be coming to you going, hey, I got through this level, or I got through this thing. And then, so they're on there building up confidence and learning a new skill, and they persevered through something that they didn't know they could do. Right. So,
and they're not isolated when they're doing it. When you're doing it in a classroom, you get to do that with your teammates, with your peers, and with somebody who can guide you through all of that. So,
well, I think a lot of parents have seen their kids, and I have a 17-year-old who I used to watch my son walk around watching somebody play, Minecraft. And I used to think that was ridiculous. And now I literally say, oh, he's just persevering. Like that's, because he's trying to get better at it. So he's watching,
studying.
Where, we're in a YouTube world where if I don't know how to fix my sink, I YouTube it. Right. And I persevere through it. So it's just a shift in thinking.
And like, speaking of Minecraft, last year, one of our projects that we did with our freshmen was our city it's growing, and it is creating 2 new parks. And they asked our students to work with the architects that they had contracted with to design this park. And we had one student go above and beyond and build an entire park, like used Minecraft as the 3D modeling program to present, and was able to present this to our architects, our city council, and our school board. And they were blown away because it looks, it's Minecraft, but it looks professional. It didn't have the exact specs, but it got the point across. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, what do you guys see as just kind of a wrap-up question? And then I have one more fun question. But what do you both see, and you can each take a stab at this, as kind of the future of esports and education?
That's a good one. I think what I kind of see and what I really hope for is more buy-in from admin, parents, and other students to actually see what it has to offer. Obviously, we've seen an exponential amount of growth with how it's gone, like collegiately and things like that now. And I really think, high school or secondary school is probably going to be the next step to really seeing that growth. And, just continue to, use it as maybe a tool to get students to higher education. And I think that's something when exposing my kids to Auto University in their program, like those kids probably never thought of college, some of them, and now that's, in the back of their brain. So I think just using it as a tool to allow kids to get to the next level is great. But I think really my biggest hope is that we can get more buy-in and less pushback, because it does help a ton with the soft skills that we'll use in life, especially in adulthood and when our careers start, and all those good things. So
absolutely. Jayme, how about you?
I'm excited about the doors that are going to open and the new curriculum that's going to be coming out, through gaming concepts, and using esports to change education, using, or at least games, because games do teach a lot of those really important lessons. And when you can start adding content behind that, not just for, like career and tech ed or that competitive side, but, start looking at some of your core content where I feel like some of that could fit in, maybe not for a whole class, but even just for like a unit or a lesson, like you're able to engage students in a different level, like bringing in some of that stuff that we're seeing in our esports classes, putting it behind everything else, helping those gen ed teachers, those core teachers that struggle with their kids staying awake while they're reading Romeo and Juliet.
Right.
How do you, what comes next? I'm so excited. I think it's going to be great.
Oh, I totally agree with both of you there. Okay, so we just usually end with a fun question. What is, and we'll go all of us will do it. So what is the last show that you binge watched? Da-na-na-na-na-na. Trevor.
Tulsa King. Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. Yes, love it. Love it. Love it. It's my
Very cool. Tulsa King. All right. Who's next? Mine was Harry and Meghan. I did binge watch all of that on Netflix.
What's that? What's Harry and Meghan?
Prince Harry and his wife, Meghan Markle, and the whole royal family debacle. And I'm reading his book right now, Spare. So I'm intrigued by all of it. I've been obsessed with the royal family since Princess Diana got married in 1960. So
I'm currently binging The White Lotus.
Oh, yes.
On HBO.
Mhm.
It's great, but I'll be honest, I watched all of season 12's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills
I'm there.
over Christmas break.
I'm with you.
Sometimes I just have to turn it all off and yeah.
It's a guilty pleasure. It is a guilty pleasure.
Yet no one bothers me when I'm watching it either. No one else in my house wants to be anywhere near it. So
Hey.
yeah.
Well played, Jayme.
Jack.
Maybe that's why you like to watch it.
No, oh yeah.
Even though nobody will be around. It's like I'm going to be alone for a few minutes. So.
Yeah.
Mine was House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Cadie, in your spare time?
Yeah. Okay, so I normally rewatch The Office over and over again. That's my favorite. But I think the last one I actually binge watched something new is Reacher.
Okay.
So that was a pretty interesting one.
Nice.
Drew me in.
I like it.
Yeah.
Alex, you got one that you're stewing on back in the background?
Yeah, good question. I'm actually watching The Good Fight on Paramount. It's got a lot of cameos in it, and I can't think of the main actress in it, but it's a real hoity-toity lady from The Grinch, the one with the light bulb machine gun. She's the main character, and it's a warrior show. It's really good. So.
It is a good show. I've watched that. So, well, to wind us up, do Cadie or Jayme, do either one of you have any type of social media that people could reach out to you if they wanted to talk to you more?
The Innovation Academy at Basehor-Linwood High School has an Instagram page.
Okay.
I think it's at, I just changed the name of it. So, look around.
Yeah, think about that.
Also, on our district website, you can find our Innovation Academy homepage too. I'll get that real quick.
Okay, perfect. Cadie, do you have any social media?
Yeah, I have pretty much all of them, but a good way to connect would probably be through Twitter for me.
Yeah, Twitter.
My handle, yeah. Do you want me to give you my handle?
Yeah, give the handle for listeners.
All right. Sure. It's Cadie Nicole 7. So CADIE NICOLE 7.
I love it. I love it. Well, I can be found at Kristen Esports on Twitter and LinkedIn. Mike.
Russ the Teach on Twitter and just Michael Russell on LinkedIn.
Trevor.
Gertson_EDU on Twitter and Trevor Gertson, not the Canadian hockey player, on LinkedIn.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, and Cadie and Jayme, we're so honored to have you and just to appreciate your time and just thank you for sharing everything and just really thank you for being champions for students. That's exactly what we need, are people like you that are opening up the world of esports in schools. So thanks so much for being on the podcast, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.